Now over here, cameraman. Do you guys remember when I said, I am not gonna start any more classic Mustang projects, period. I swear, I promise. Unless, of course, I find a good deal on a fastback. Well, funny story. Oh! I found what may be the coolest barn find I've ever seen on Facebook Marketplace, and you know I had to go scoop it up. Oh, This is a 1966 Mustang A-code FASTBACK powered by a factory 4-barrel 289 V8 4-speed manual transmission, and I'm pretty sure it's a real deal GT. It's loaded with so many cool things that I can't wait to show you, and I can't wait to bring it back to life. So let's get to work. Now before we tear into this thing, I need to show it to you in its current state because it is so unbelievably cool, and it's loaded with real deal factory GT specific parts. Starting with the fog lights in the grille, we pop the hood, we see a 289 that I'm pretty sure is not a hypo, but it does have hypo manifolds. It does have a 4-barrel Holley carburetor. It does have the large single pot master cylinder, and it does have the factory 4-piston disc brakes. It also has the quick ratio 16:1 steering box with the tag on it. The car has the correct badging for a GT. No pony emblem. And possibly my favorite part of the entire car is the interior. It is so cool in here. Come in here, and we have a factory bench seat. We've got an old school Hearst shifter, and best of all, we've got a factory rally pack. That is an old school tachometer and clock mounted to the steering column, and it really gets me excited. I don't know why. That's so cool. We've got our fog lamp switch. We've got our disc brake pedal. We've got, honestly, a pretty nice interior too. Like the headliner's pretty mint, and I think with a really good vacuuming and cleaning, this is gonna look like awesome. I cannot wait to drive this thing. And you can't pick it up via camera, but the smell in here is like interesting. It's cool, old school leather mixed with mold, so it does stink, and it probably will give me some sort of illness if I sit in here too long, but it smells awesome, and I wanna sit in here all day. But I can't do that because I need to hear this thing run. Speaking of hearing it run, check it out down here. We've got the factory trumpet exhaust tips through the valence, and I have looked under the car. Wasp, I swear to God, is that, you fucking with me? You fucking with me right now? Oh, not anymore. Not anymore, you're not. Not anymore, you're not. Good night. I've also crawled under the car and seen the factory special exhaust hangers specific to the GT exhaust, but I want to clarify that once it's on the lift. But overall, this thing is awesome. It is not all original. It's been repainted. These emblems are not factory. It's got old school chrome wheels on it. It's got slapper bars, aftermarket shifter. It's been messed with. But that gets me even more excited. Who knows what it's gonna sound like when it starts? Who knows how it's gonna run? Who knows if it's got gears in the back? This might be a ripper, but we're not gonna know until we wheel it into the shop and tear into it. And I'm gonna be extra careful on this car because this means a lot to me, and it's also worth significantly more than all of my other cars. So, now let's actually get to work. Step one, see if the tires will hold some air. At least long enough to roll it in the shop. It does not have brakes, but it does roll.
I don't think we're allowed in the shop.
No, we're not. I think it's that restraining order we put on them.
And perfect. First thing I'm gonna do is put it up on the lift and we can check it out, because I've never seen it on the lift. I'm curious to see how rough it actually is. The frame is not bad, but everything else is. This car sat underneath a trailer home in Pennsylvania for 2 decades. And it looks like it. Whoa! Especially in the floor pan. We might be replacing that at some point. Exhaust, really rough. Drive shaft, really, really rough. Transmission, super rusty. Oh no, don't tell me that's a brake line. I thought magically I wouldn't have to do brake lines on this. I don't know why I thought that. Fuel line is just as bad. So we need brake lines, we need fuel lines, and as you can see, the brakes they're not bolted on, they're severely rusted, and they obviously do not work. Overall, the frame on this thing is like perfect. There's actually zero rot on the frame anywhere at all, which is super rare. It needs an entire floor pan basically, and all of the little stuff that runs along the floor pan, but that's minor. The frame is solid. So let's go back down. First thing I'm gonna do is take a 15/16 socket and try and turn this motor over by hand. I'm not gonna go crazy, I'm just gonna see if it budges. Oh, okay. With ease, actually. Wow. Everything is so rusty, but that turns over really good. Now with this engine, I'm gonna be super careful. I plan to pull the distributor out, I'm gonna pull the intake, all the spark plugs, I wanna look in the cylinder walls with the bore scope. I wanna be careful, because I would not like to replace this engine. Now judging by the slightly newer fuel filter, the slightly newer spark plug wires, the slightly newer fuel pump, I do think at some point someone tried to get this running and gave up. Even the oil filter looks newer, but I'm tearing all of this stuff out. Not sure how much coolant is in this thing. And the pickup barely wants to move. This thing needs a prostate exam. The hose clamps are so rusted I can't even get a screwdriver on them, so that's what this is for. One. The adventurous part of me wants to just toss a battery in here and dump fuel down the carburetor and see if it fires, but the slightly more careful part of me doesn't want to do that. This is gonna go everywhere probably. Damn, if I can get it off, holy. I do not like this flex fan. It is very sharp and I feel as if it is going to slit my arms open. It very well could, because it is very sharp. You know, maybe I'll just around and take that off. I'll get this rat hose off first, actually. There it is, there it goes, there it goes, boom! Only missed that a lot. This radiator is oversized and has been adapted to fit in the car in a very hard to remove fashion. This is far wider than a stock rad, and as you can see, we have these custom radiator adapters that have been plasma cutted. Problem was, one of the bolts was rusted seized, and I could not get it out. I just sanded a little bit of my knuckles on the radiator though, so it's no big deal. I don't think that's factory GT stuff, and it will not be going back in. Flex fan, high performance, removed. You may be able to notice these pulleys are almost rusted beyond repair, especially the crank pulley. Look how disgusting it is. And guys, what are the odds that alternator still charges? Probably not high. It may look like I'm just taking things off willy-nilly right now, but trying to just get all of the rusted accessories and pulleys off so that we can start this thing without dealing with them. Because it is bound to be a huge mess if I leave it on. I will save all this hardware though, because it comes in handy. Spark plug wires. Can't come out. How ugly is it inside of the distributor cap? Not quite as bad as I thought, but also not wonderful either. Ignition coil, probably not ignition coiling anymore. Distributor, does it move? Oh, wow, kind of surprised. I'm gonna remove that. I don't see tons of rust. In fact, I don't see any rust. I'm gonna try not to break any or all of these water pump bolts. Ooh, that's a nice mess. But it's all right, we've already made a huge mess today. This water pump actually would have worked just fine, but I can't be too sure. Carburetor, which looks to be quite rough, can come off. Might run the numbers on this. It'd be really cool if it was factory, but kind of doubt it. This is why I didn't want to just try to light the car off. There's so much like aluminum dust and corrosion everywhere. I have no idea what it looks like under the intake, which is why I'm about to pop the intake off. Before I remove the intake, I will uncover the first mystery of the day, which is how ugly it is under the valve covers, and is there anything special under the valve covers? Last bolt. Ooh, hold the phone. Got some nice roller tipped rockers under there that look incredibly clean. We've got 289 castings in the cylinder heads along with 66, which tells me they're stock 289 heads. But we do also have dual valve springs, which means this thing probably has a cam in it. Almost definitely. You don't upgrade valve springs without upgrading the cam. I'm excited to start this thing up now, buddy. Woo! Before I pop off the intake, I'm gonna remove all of this rusty seasoning that I don't want falling into the valley. Now I am most worried about breaking an intake manifold bolt because I think they're the most likely to break, and they're also the most annoying to fix. However, on the inside, they don't look bad at all, which is a good sign. Okay, bad news is, one of them stripped. Real bad. It's round. Great, that's not good. Dang, the last one too. Well, one's better than 5. Let me try to get that out. This 12 millimeter looks like a sort of close fit. I'm gonna apply a little bit of heat. Going straight for the impact again. Yes! 12 millimeter for the win. Time for super exciting mystery number 2. What's it look like under the intake manifold? Do we have a mouse nest or do we have perfection? Oh wow, that is really, really, really on there. Might need a couple of taps. Ooh, she's heavy, buddy. I ran the casting numbers on this manifold and it does appear to be a stock 4-barrel 289 manifold. It's probably the original one. Will I reuse it? I'm not sure. But let's look under it. Oh my God. You can't make that up. It's like doctor's office clean in there. Damn. Oh, those plugs are tight, son. Every time they pop loose, I almost injure myself. Got it though. These plugs are really not looking bad. They're not all super rusty or crusty, and they're all coming out relatively easily. In fact, I'm on the last one now. And for the record, I don't really revive dead cars that often. I'm sure I could be doing things more efficiently, but I'm kind of learning as I go. I really want to nurse this thing back to health carefully. Fun fact, this car was listed for an insane steal on Marketplace, and I had to really fight my way to actually go see it, because so many people wanted to see it. In fact, apparently Richard Rawlings wanted to come buy this car, and I beat him to it. If you're watching, Richard, I'm not sorry. What I have here is called a bore scope. Check it out. Look, that's you. This is pretty much just a camera on a stick. You can shove this camera into any sort of hole and look at it inside. Now what I'm gonna use this for is looking into the cylinder walls, because I'm mildly horrified that they are very rusty. Oh, dude, that looks good. That actually looks way better than I expected. Did we got any 30 overcastings or anything fun like we did on Blueberry? Can't really see all that well. Okay, well that cylinder wall looks pretty good. How about the next one? Once again, pretty good. Tops of the pistons look pretty cruddy, but that's all right. No stuck valve, maybe? No. That valve is not looking wonderful. Not looking wonderful at all. However, I'm not too worried about it because the cylinder wall looks great there. Really nice. I can actually see some semblance of cross hatching on the cylinder wall there. Either that or I'm blind and an idiot.
Yeah, you're gonna need a smaller camera, bro.
Whoa! Look at this. For a car that sat underneath a trailer home for 2 decades, I'm not gonna speak too soon, but as of right now, this is kind of best case scenario, honestly. You've got valve relief pistons. My guess is they are stock, because I don't see any 30 overcasting or anything. Again, cylinder walls, really good. I was kind of expecting to see like horrible rusty water stains built up, but this thing must have been put away dry. Wow, that is awesome. That is really good news. All the cylinder walls look fantastic. Best case scenario. Now what that means is, I can start putting it back together. I'm gonna put new plugs in it. I'm gonna toss an intake on it that I know is good, along with the known good carburetor. We're gonna see if it fires up. You wanna look at anything else before I put this thing away? You wanna look at anything else with my little camera? My little camera that can go all sorts of places? Up, down. Before I put spark plugs back in this motor, I've got 1540 diesel oil right here. If I'm not mistaken, diesel oil usually has pretty good additives in it for old engines. I'm gonna load it up into this squeezy thing here, and I'm gonna squirt a bunch into the cylinder walls, just so we have a nice slick startup. I've used up most of the oil in there. That'll give us a good bit of a slippery start. And while I'm at it, may as well come into the valley tray here, do some squirting onto the cam. Literally, anytime the opportunity arises for me to pump and squirt, I will. Get things all slippery. I'm saying. Papa John came down here and was looking at this with us, and we made multiple discoveries. For starters, it has a log style, like non-high performance manifold on the passenger side, and what appears to be a hypo manifold on the driver's side. So what I said in the intro was a lie. It doesn't have hypo manifolds. It has hypo manifold. Discovery number 2. Look at those lifters. K-code 289s have solid lifters. These are hydraulic lifters, which tells us there's a pretty good chance that it's not a K-code engine, but it could be. Maybe someone messed with it at some point. Also, these are roller rockers, not roller tipped rockers. I'm a dumbass. I don't know why I said that. And the final discovery, K-code 289 engines came with dual valve springs. And these ones have paint on them, so I do not think they are factory dual valve springs, but this being a K-code engine is kind of up in the air. It does not have the right lifters, and it only has one of the correct manifolds, but it does have dual valve springs. There is not really a specific casting for the hypo heads. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not gonna go out and claim it's a hypo motor, but it's got a couple hypo parts, and I'm excited to see how it sounds. New spark plugs. That's all I'm doing for today. I'm gonna get this core off the lift and parked where Blueberry is, because Josh and I gotta go pick something else up and work on it. And if you wanna find out what that is, check out this week's Patreon video. See you soon. You rolling, J-Man?
Goodbye. Oh!
You laughing at?
Woo! Woo! God damn! It's like 4th of July in here.
It's really hard to weld and laugh at the same time. Should I do a no-lift shift and see if we kill ourselves?
I'm a little shaken up, but I'm fine.
And we are back. Day 2 of the Fastback revival. I went to the auto parts store and loaded up on everything I think we need to get this thing running. I'm very curious to see if that cam chops. These intake gaskets are ancient and they are very hard.
Damn, I gotta like chisel them off.
Now the engine needs cleaned a lot before I install an intake manifold, but before I really hit it with the wire wheel, I want to put valve covers on it. So I decided I have to use the super cool Cobra valve covers that came off the car. So cameraman is currently hitting them with a wire wheel to knock off all the old paint. They're coming out sort of half decent. We might actually hit them with silver paint. And while he's at that, I've been thinking, what intake do I use on the car? I was thinking about taking the nice aluminum intake that I had on Blueberry and plopping it on this for a mild performance increase, but now that I know that this is probably the factory 4-barrel intake, and that's pretty cool. It's also a dual plane, probably performs well enough for whatever's done to this motor, so I want to clean this up and use it. But as you can see, it is hideous and disgusting, so it also needs wire wheeled. So I'm gonna wire wheel this, cameraman's gonna wire wheel those, so then we can put those on the motor, wire wheel the motor, install the intake, do some painting. It's gonna look awesome, maybe, depending on how clean we can get it. Oh, lucky me. Lucky, lucky. I didn't think that was gonna come out that easily. Intake, basically done. Cameraman has the valve covers, almost done. Now I'm gonna set these valve covers on the motor and I'm gonna wire wheel it so we can paint it all Ford blue. Getting all visible areas of that engine clean with the wire wheel was one of the most miserable things I've done in a while. But it is wire wheeled off. I'm gonna douse the whole thing in brake clean, let it dry, we'll prep it, and then we'll paint all this stuff. It's gonna look awesome. All right. I'll let that brake clean bake off, and I'll do the same treatment to the engine and try not to burn the car to the ground. I'm just kidding. There's no brake clean on this motor anymore. I like using the torch to prepare metal for paint because it makes the paint stick easier. It also brings the moisture out of the metal. Look up close, you can see it happening. Do you see the moisture going away? Look at that, look at that. Ready? Watch, it's gonna burn off. All that moisture going away. I've gotten this engine very loosely prepped, but it's nice and warm. It's taped off, and I'm just gonna fog it in the areas that you'll be able to see when you're looking under the hood. This is blue brake caliper paint from AutoZone, and I am using this because it is the closest to the Ford blue I want. So it is not Ford blue, it is caliper blue, whatever that means. Ooh, that's looking nice! I was not planning on doing this in this video, but I kind of let things snowball. And that looks pretty cool, so I don't care. Next up, intake. I'm really glad that I'm using this stock intake because I uncovered all the cool castings. It's got the firing order on it, it's got a little Ford logo, and at the end of the day, it is still a dual plane intake manifold, so it should help the car run just fine. And it's the original one. Like, do you see that? That's cool. And we're gonna be painting the super cool Cobra valve covers. Okay, dipstick tube painted. One more glory coat on the front of the intake, although it's looking great. Engine's looking great, valve covers are looking great. I gotta let this stuff dry. We gotta let that paint dry, so we may as well go impulse buy another barn find on Marketplace. We're 5 minutes out from this impulsive, unexpected road trip that we should not be going on because we really need to get that car running today, and we were already running behind, but this could be very cool. I'm probably not gonna show the car that we're looking at in case we do buy it. I mean, maybe we could tease it a little bit, but the barn find that we're currently reviving is like 10% of the barn find that this actually is, because this car is literally in a barn, literally covered and full of dust, surrounded by other junk in a barn. Oh, hello. It's been an hour. I'm covered in barn dirt, and I'm a lot broker. We are gonna have to find out what I just bought in a future YouTube video. Let's get back to work. Oh, shit. Damn. We are back, and the engine is looking very sexy. Gotta take a little brake clean on a rag and clean some overspray off, but I am super happy with that color. Next step, brand new water pump. Water pump is installed using a hodgepodge of old rusty hardware and brand new hardware. Perfect. Before I put the intake manifold on, I'm loosely dumping some oil in the valley here to maybe help lubricate things. I gotta change the oil anyway, so I'm gonna end up draining most of this, but I can at least get this stuff wet. It'll all seep down, hopefully get the cam nice and wet. Josh helped and cleaned up the stock thermostat housing, and before I install it, I'm gonna make sure it is straight and true. See? It wasn't. Now that I think about it, the intake might match that asymmetry, but that's what silicone's for. That's pretty good. I'm on a restoration streak right now. You think I have enough paint on it? That better not leak. Enough silicone for it to not ever. I've like started working all over the shop and even outside in the most random places, and that's making me lose things at a very accelerated pace. In other news, I'm ready to install the intake manifold. Also, it's 7:22. We should have this car running right now, but we got very sidetracked earlier. Intake manifold gaskets, siliconed around the coolant ports. Ready to accept my beautifully restored factory intake manifold. Before I do that, I need to build the great wall of silicone. One wall assembled. Gotta get it up in the corner. And I have used that up. Now the challenge is, this intake is incredibly heavy. Annoyingly heavy at that. It's like 50 pounds. I gotta work it underneath the strut tower brace, plop it on even Steven the first time. Ready? This thing is heavy. I could catch a mean pump on this motherfucker if I wanted to, but I don't want to catch a pump. I would like to assemble this motherfucker. Almost dropped it on the floor. Oh God. Clean it back off. Gotta get this perfect the first time. Oh damn, that guy's a way too hit, buddy. That adds challenge. Am I perfectly lined up? Pretty damn close, I think. I'm gonna start these freshly painted bolts that have not gotten a chance to dry. I've torqued all the intake bolts down to 24 foot-pounds. But what I always find is I have to do it twice. Because once you torque the whole intake to 24 foot-pounds, you will find that the center 4 bolts are loose again. and need torqued. I've also got this spacer. I don't know if it's factory or not, but the casting on the bottom kind of matches what the intake looks like. Check it out. Like, it seems as though that came from the factory like that. Plus it also has a port on the back for the PCV valve. So, got a gasket there. Plop that on there. Right, it does need a gasket, right? Oh no, check it out. It vents into there. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, I do use this. Learn more every day. This is the carburetor that was on the car. I ran the numbers on it. It's not factory. It's off of an early 70s GM factory replacement or something like that. So it's not original to this car. I actually think they had Motorcraft carburetors on them, but that's fine because this is the really nice Holley 500 that I had on Blueberry. I know it works perfectly, and I'm gonna plop it right on here. Right on there. Now, I should probably put on the valve covers because that's the next beautiful task. I do not want to use cork gaskets. Ooh, and I'm a lucky man. The Parts engine has the reusable metal core rubber gaskets. Check them out. Cameraman hit them with a wire wheel. I hit them with spray paint. They look kind of brand new if you don't look at them close. That's awesome. Good news is, I've got these rusty old bolts off Blueberry because they're the only ones I could find. They're gonna really accent the fresh paint very well. My perfectionism leaked onto the intake bolts, but not the valve cover bolts. Valve cover number 2 installed. I gotta say, I like the strut tower brace. I can kind of like lean on it and grab on it, and it's old, so it's not the new Chinesium junk that you buy. That thing, you could hook a tow strap to it and pull the car down the road. I have this slightly better balancer that was on 8-ball on this original engine. It's not great, but it's better than the horribly rotted one we took off. How to start your harmonic balancer bolt. Don't do that. Perfect. Now, I'm gonna take that plug out, I'm gonna crank her over to top dead center. We're getting close, buddy. Real close. I'm curious to see what the oil looks like in this thing. Some water, I think. Nope, that's oil. Look how clean that is. It's like perfect. I think my drain pan's too small. Whoops. Brand new oil filter. The old oil filter was actually also brand new, just slightly rusty. So I think someone did try to do what we're doing maybe 10 years ago. They just didn't get very far. Well, that oil drains out. I've got a brand new ignition coil here that does not use an external resistor, so I can just hot wire it from the battery and start it up tonight. Ignition coil on. I had this Holley mechanical fuel pump on the shelf, and it's gonna do the trick right now. Last thing before I top off the oil is my freshly painted dipstick tube. Now I can top it off with oil. It's not just oil, I have this Zinc Plus break-in additive. I'm gonna need all the help I can get because there was a very mild amount of corrosion on the cam. And this thing does not have roller lifters, so I lubed it up before putting the intake on. This zinc additive should help a little bit. And then the 1540 diesel oil I'm gonna use also has some additives. I may have missed this a lot, so the startup will be smoky. It is now time to prime the oil pump. The oil pump drive shaft connects to the bottom of the distributor, so before I install the distributor, I have a 1/4-inch socket on this impact, and I will spin the drive shaft until we see oil pressure on the gauge. This is not good. We've been spinning this for quite some time. For once, I would love an oil leak right now. Please. That would be great. That's not good. This could very well be bad. For once, I just figured the motor would be fine after I looked at it with the borescope, and we didn't do this before painting literally everything.
This is why we don't do things right.
This is why we don't do things right. Yeah. We should have just thrown a battery in it to see if it fired up. That's almost the worst case scenario. I've been pumping that for a really long time, far longer than it should have been before I saw any oil pressure. There is no sensor or adapter blocking the hole, and no oil is coming out at all. So that very well likely means there's something detrimentally wrong with the oil pump or the oil pump pickup, which is odd because I can feel some resistance with this spinning the oil pump, so it feels like it's pumping oil, but there is no oil coming out of that port. Now I have to probably drop the oil pan, which is full of brand new oil, It's 10 o'clock at night. This video goes live in under 2 days. And it's 4th of July weekend. Damn! That sucks in a horrible way. I'll talk to you when we decide what we're gonna do. You know what I've decided? I'm gonna drink a beer. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I'm gonna relax. And then I'm gonna put this car up on a lift and drop the oil pan and get the motherfucker running tonight. Let's do it! Yeah, we're doing it! I'm back. First things first, I'm going to drop the cross member. Hopefully the bolts come out. Easier said than done. Yikes. There it is. Good morning and good night. How about this? How you feeling? How you living? God damn, that one's tight. Let me get the big impact on there. Easy. Now I might run into a problem with the tie rod here, but I'm really hoping I don't. So I'm just gonna pop off all the bolts that hold the oil pan in and we drop it. Oh, and rust went in my eye a lot. I intend on reusing this oil, so I have this bucket that is very clean. Perfect catch. That's been on there for a minute. Crack the seal, baby. Come on out for me. There it is. There it is. Are there any funky discoveries to be made? Well, funky discovery number one is, this is in the way. The motor mount bolts are incredibly rusty, and I don't want to lift the motor up because of that. Now I can access the oil pump and the oil pump pickup from just the amount the oil pan's dangling right now, but right now I can't see any problems. It all looks normal and it looks good, fine, and dandy. I can see the oil pump drive shaft sitting in the oil pump. It spins, I don't know. I'm inclined to just take the whole oil pump off, because that's pretty easy. I don't know, I don't see anything blatantly wrong right now, which is not great. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the whole oil pump. There it is. Off it comes. It's the oil pump drive shaft. Now the question is, can I get the oil pump assembly out with the oil pan hanging down this small amount? Oh! Verdict says yes. Verdict also says the oil pump looks perfectly fine. This is the pickup screen. There's nothing large blocking it. I really kind of hoped there'd be a problem. Now, I'm gonna experiment with this by seeing if it pumps. Let's come over to our oil pan. Now, if this thing works, oil will gush out of this. Oh, that's interesting. When I do it backwards, it works. When I do it forwards, it doesn't. It's actually pushing the other way. That's weird because the Ford distributor turns clockwise. Guess what? I'm an idiot. The distributor on a 1966 289 rotates counter clockwise. Can you believe that? I just tore apart the whole bottom of the motor. I could have just turned the drill the other way. Oh. We could have had this car running an hour ago. Now I have to the oil pan gasket. Not looking forward to that, but good news is I can toss it back together and we can keep moving. How am I so dumb? This is like the 18th 66 Mustang I've built. How am I so dumb? I bet you real Ford guys at home are laughing your ass off right now. Ha ha ha, this Tom is such an idiot. This is the dumbest thing I've done in a long time. And last week I stacked aluminum lift blocks in an S10. Well, at least we can clean the oil pan now. I may as well take this very disappointing opportunity to paint my oil pan. Well, we'll paint that spot again. Old oil pan gasket, gone. Now let's get that cleaned up. Just in case I just blew some schmutz onto the crank and rod, I am rinsing it. Perfect. Lovely. Now let's reassemble. About an hour and a half later, my freshly painted oil pan with fresh oil pan gasket can go back on, even though I never had to do any of it. And Declan's back at 1 o'clock in the morning.
What's up?
Oh, that's backwards. Well, now my oil pan is reinstalled with its new oil pan gasket and its new 50% of a rear main seal that I probably installed wrong. All right, well, I feel like I'm going literally insane, but let's drop it down, fill it with oil, prime it, start it. I decided not to use the bucket oil, so that zinc additive is money wasted, but it's now full with fresh 1540. We kind of just did an oil flush. That's how I'll see it. We did a 4-hour-long unneeded oil flush. Hey guys, imagine I just edited out everything we just did. I decided to move the car onto the lift, you know, just for fun. And now I'm gonna prime the oil pump. But remember, on the 289, the distributor spins counterclockwise. So when you prime it with the drill, make the drill go backwards. Now everybody, let's see if we have some oil pressure. Whoa, that's crazy. That was fast. Time to put the distributor in. This is a distributor out of Blueberry. It was on a 289 with a pretty much stock setup, a stock style cam, and it worked great. So I'm using it for this. It's a Petronix flamethrower, and before I install it, I'm going to set the cap on it. And I'm going to decide which one of these I want to make cylinder number 1. Because I have rotated the engine to top dead center, meaning compression stroke on cylinder number 1 at the tippity top. So basically, I have to decide what cylinder number 1 is going to be. I have to label it as such, and when I install this distributor, I'm going to make sure this right here is aimed at that cylinder number 1. That way, we are on top dead center. Timing is set at 0 degrees, and we can play with it from there. I'm just going to install it forwards with plenty of room to adjust. It appears I have to spin that oil pump drive shaft ever so slightly. Maybe that magically did it. Everything sucks when it's hour 12 of the project. I'm basically installing the distributor so that this vacuum advance port aims forward so that I have nice adjustability. I'm gonna say whatever cylinder falls right there will be cylinder number 1. Perfect. Spark plug wires installed. Record level ugly because it's 1:30 in the morning. I don't care about their beauty. I actually had brand new spark plug wires laying around out of Dingleberry, if you're familiar with the Patreon. The beauty continues. We've got our mock-up oil pressure gauge here. We've got our lovely spark plug wires tied up so nicely. Cameraman tossed on a fuel line from my new fuel pump to the carburetor. And then we have another fuel line for sucking. Obviously, we can't use the tank because the main fuel line is completely rotted out, so we're gonna suck from a jug. Last thing I have to do here, connect the ignition coil wires, toss a battery in it, we're starting. Next step, hot wire the ignition coil. Connect it. I'm gonna test it with the meter, but that should have 12 volts right now. Yes, we've got a hot coil. Now, all your boy's gotta do is take a screwdriver and jump the solenoid. And I'm doing this because I don't have the keys to this car. Didn't come with keys. No idea where they are. I can't use the ignition switch. So I have...
That's something you failed to mention at any point prior to this moment.
Well, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. What do you think screwdrivers and drill bits are for? Starter works. Well, we ready? Does the fastback run? I have rigged up a throttle return spring. We have a makeshift fuel system. We have a hot wire to our ignition coil. We've got a battery that's got juice. It's gonna take a while for the float bowls to fill up. But now, I'm gonna start this fastback. I'm going to do this until I hear something. Oh, okay. A little extra go-go juice. Right. Fire up for me, fastback, for real this time, please. Extra go-go juice for you. Come on. attempt, 800. That was insanely quiet. Timing sounded really unhappy. I'm gonna back it off a good bit and see what happens. It just ran. Okay, I have created what is not that safe, but should work. Look, I've added more wires. I have a really nice custom fuel system right now that will pump fuel into our carburetor. In fact, we have squirter right now. Ignition coil's juiced up. Let's see if it starts. Running. It ran. It idled high though, which is a little bit odd. I've taken off the PCV breather and plugged it, because that is the only vacuum leak I can think of. Let's try again. Weird. It's idling super high. I think I have a giant vacuum leak. The only thing I can think of is this weird factory spacer might be causing problems. So I am going to get rid of it. I'm going to toss on this and try one more time. Okay, all right, and okay. Well, my homemade fuel system is no longer working. It appears to only be sucking air now, so I'm just gonna dump gas in the carb. Let's see if we can make it idle. Listen to it run. This is the final attempt. I put a different carb spacer on it. If that doesn't fix it, then I think there's genuinely something wrong with the stock intake. So. Seemed slightly, mildly better. Maybe. Let's try it again. It's idling! It's idling! Well, it is almost 3 o'clock in the morning. We're on what, hour 14 of working on this car? So that's a go-go juice this time. Now, let's see if that camel chop. It's not striking me as a choppy camshaft, unfortunately. But this motor sounds quiet. How's that oil pressure looking when it's running, though?
It was climbing up to 40.
Can't be mad at that. It is running. Nice and smooth. Nice and quiet. With 40 pounds of oil pressure at idle. All right. It kind of requires squirter for that. One more try for you, viewer. My love. That is it. That's all I could get out of it. I was just force feeding it brake clean so it could get a little rev cough for you. Check out how much rust came out of the exhaust too. That's wild. Hey, this 1966 Fastback is officially a runner. Yes, it needs so many things actually connected properly and installed. It needs brakes, it needs a fuel system, it needs interior work, it needs electrical work, you name it needs it. But we drug this from the driveway after buying it from underneath the trailer home. Now it's on the lift, it's running. Check it out. The engine looks like This too literally looks like we just dropped in a crate motor. It's beautiful. I'm very happy with that. I can tell it's going to idle as soon as we can consistently get fuel to it. And guys, you know, we've got so much work to do to make this car right, but we heard it run, we heard it idle, we heard it rev. It's got good oil pressure. It idles smooth. The motor's not knocking or ticking. We even replaced the oil pan gasket. What more could you ask for? But now it's 2:45 a.m. This video goes live in a day and a half now. I'm very tired. There's a big mess here and I'm very dirty, but I feel successful. So thanks for being here along the ride on the best damn automotive content on YouTube. I love you so much for sticking through it, calling me an idiot through your screen. I know you probably were. I was very mad there for a while, on and off camera. But this 66 Fastback is a runner. I'm pretty sure I called it a 65 a minute ago, but it is a 66. I love this car. I'm very excited to drive it. It is awesome. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. I'll be waiting to listen to them, but please be nice because I am already feeling quite dumb. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Check out Speedy's equipment because we've got a restock of boom tubes live right now. Check out Tom'sRefurb.shop and check out the Tom's Refurb Patreon because we just dropped a crazy video that you kind of got a hint of halfway through this video, but go check it out anyways. Thanks for being here. I'm going to bed. Fellow late nighters,
Good night.
we have got a running Fastback. Peace out. Have a blessed evening or day, depending on when you are watching this. I'm going to bed because I feel insane. Bye.